Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a while since I've posted, but today I have here with me a good friend of mine. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Dominick Arcudi, a lifelong Star Wars fan that was very disappointed by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Amazing. I was not recent, but like my Star Wars journey began in like middle school, and I am also disappointed by Obi-Wan Kenobi. To keep track of our voices, I am the Moogie on the right, and Dom is the wolf with the whiskey and cigar on the left. All right, so
Actually, Coyote, I got some brand consistency to keep here.
all right, a coyote with the whiskey and a cigar. Amazing.
Yes, I am that asshole. I guess continue.
But yeah, we're here to talk about Kenobi because it just finished, and we have many thoughts about it.
Yeah.
So
where should we start?
I was going to say, where should we start? Maybe like a quick rundown of the series. And so, Kenobi is a recent Disney Plus series. I think it's the third Disney Plus TV show that was Star Wars related.
It is the third live action.
Oh yeah, because the Clone Wars, right?
Bad Batch.
Yeah. Bad Batch. But the third live action. And it follows Obi-Wan Kenobi in his, I guess, escapades across Tatooine and space and whatnot. It's like set between It's set between
episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically what Obi-Wan's about, and we have many grumps. And before we get started, we're approaching this from a writing standpoint. We have both experienced with critiquing something, so this isn't just a toxic ramble. This is us actually like kind of dissecting and whatnot and doing stuff like that. So we should be hopefully. I'm not expecting anyone to watch this, but if there's a troll or a hate commenter out there, just forewarning. Anyways, so yeah, Obi-Wan. I'm really glad that they got Ewan McGregor back. That was honestly one of like the first things that kind of, I guess, hooked me onto it. I was like, oh,
no, that was an absolute highlight that they got both Ewan McGregor and Christian Haydenson back to reprise their role.
I know, because I was like, because it's like, Ewan McGregor it was great and all, but the fact they got both of them, I was like hyped.
Mm-hmm. I want to say, like, going into Obi-Wan, I was beyond excited. I was so hyped. I wanted more than anything for this show to be good. I really wanted to enjoy this show, but it just left me so disappointed on so many different levels.
Yeah,
because just the fact that they got like the two original actors, and then like to hear Hayden Christensen saying, because he's been out of the role for so long, to go like, yeah, so I watched like Clone Wars and Rebels to see like what the how much Anakin's character had changed and stuff like that. Try to emulate that. It's just like, well, I'm fucking hyped. Like, the only like problem I had going into the show was the looks of two of the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother. That was honestly the only thing that worried me going into the show. And my God, were they probably the best things about this show.
Yeah. I think you mentioned it before that you thought Obi-Wan was going to be like a Logan style, what's it called, character thing?
Logan style, like, character study, because that's how they advertised it, was this is going to be like a Logan for Star Wars, basically. And it's like, Logan's my favorite movie, and it's like, I love Obi-Wan, he's my favorite Star Wars character, so yeah, that's going to be fucking exciting. And then the show wasn't that.
Yeah.
At least, there was a little bit of that in the last episode, but that's not what the overall show was. The entire show was essentially rescue baby Leia. It's just like, why the fuck is this the entirety of all 6 episodes? That should have been at most maybe the first 2, 3 if you really want to stretch it. After that, you're just like, why?
At what point did you like realize that this wasn't what you signed up, or this wasn't what you thought it was going to be?
I would say probably around like episode 3 or 4 is when I realized, like, yeah, no, this is definitely not going in a good direction, like, at all. Because like the first 2 episodes, like, I didn't enjoy them. I thought they were a little disappointing, but I thought like, okay, you know what? This is just like a rough footing starting. You know, other shows have had their rough footing startings and have turned out amazing. So maybe, you know, it'll just get better. You know, that CW chase scene in the first episode, probably the worst thing in all of Star Wars. But you know, it keeps theoretically it could get better from that point, and then it just didn't. Like a big problem I had is that Obi-Wan and Vader's fight. It happened twice in the show, but the first one is the one that really fucking angered me because the whole like their fight on the Death Star is like this whole supposed to be like this whole significant thing where like these people have not seen each other, or at least that was always the implication that the last time they saw each other, he had left him for dead on Mustafar. Like, you know, episode 3 doesn't really leave a lot of threads to continue any story. It's very much the story ends and, you know, it continues on to episode 4 19 years later. There's not a lot you can do with that, but like the fight on the Death Star should have been like the next time they met and the only time they met in that time period, in my opinion, because that is like a very significant moment for both of them. And the idea is that like they have not seen each other since the Mustafar fight, and now Vader is going for the kill on Obi-Wan, and he just vanishes as a ghost. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I had the same feeling when it came to like having the fight. Like the last time that they met was like on Mustafar, and like I love the second fight. The second fight was you know pretty decent, you know, at least compared to the first one.
It was very much an improvement. I will give it the second fight that much.
Yeah, but it, like you said, like the implication was that they haven't seen each other. I would say that the Mustafar fight is more impactful, and it strengthens the scene from episode 4 more than the fight from the Kenobi show.
The second fight in the Kenobi show, I swear, the first thought I had was everybody is going to be comparing this to the Ahsoka fight from Rebels, which I have gone on record to say is my favorite fight in all of Star Wars. And the second I went onto Twitter, that was the first thing I saw, was somebody comparing it to the Ahsoka Rebel fight. And it kind of pissed me off because those two scenes, like, they honestly cannot be that comparable in the emotional weight because, you know, as we said, it kind of ruins the whole emotional stakes of episode 4, because we know that both of these characters are going to survive, where in Rebels, we know that Vader is 100% going to survive, but we don't know about Ahsoka. Hell, when that episode came out before they retconned it with time travel, Ahsoka did die. That was a very emotionally heavy fight.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't she like actually die, but they like pulled her out last second or whatever?
Yeah, which I love that fight. I love Ahsoka as a character, but honestly, that should have been her end. I don't think her storyline should have continued after that, but that's a whole different topic and discussion.
Yeah.
I kind of want to circle back around to like the whole Logan idea. I feel like what the show should have been overall, which winded up not being, it winded up being the Save Princess Leia show, is that this show should have been Obi-Wan's journey to learn how to become a Force ghost, because Yoda mentioned there's like a certain training that he wants Obi-Wan to go through, a training that we saw Yoda himself go through in Clone Wars, one that, you know, all the way originates back to Qui-Gon. So that's what we should have seen. The show should have been Obi-Wan going through that Force ghost training in the desert, also trying to protect Luke and having like visions to like other important figures in his whole life. Maybe like a Darth Maul vision, a Satine vision, where it's like taunting him as like one of his many failures besides Anakin. You know, Obi-Wan's had other failures besides Anakin. And the show should have culminated in Obi-Wan, well, one, not only gaining that ability, but two, also realizing that, I mean, it kind of happened the last episode, but I think the way they did it was dumb. With just Anakin just straight up saying it, like, that's really stupid. How it should have ended is Obi-Wan realizing that Anakin was already turning long before this. He literally could have done nothing to stop it. It was out of his control.
Yeah.
Anakin becoming Vader was not his failure.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, that's like the ending we get, because like the whole Qui-Gon appearing as that's that was an all right ending, but it felt like it was the ending of a completely different show than what we got.
Yeah, no, it felt like the right, like it was the ending to a different draft of Obi-Wan that is more like what I described
Yeah.
than what winded up being just the Save Baby Leia show.
Yeah, because if you take Obi-Wan from like, you know, episode 1 to episode 6, like that ending kind of comes out of nowhere, especially if like you don't know who Qui-Gon is. You're like, well, who the hell is this guy? And
Hey, it's Liam Neeson. What is he doing here?
Exactly, and especially because this is one of those shows where it's like obviously not everyone has watched Star Wars, and not everyone has watched it in the order, you know, that everyone wants to watch, or, you know, chronologically or release order, whatever. But the point is that this might be people's first introduction to Star Wars, and so a lot of it is based off of the, you know, other things. And kind of circling back to the comparison of the Obi and Vader fight to the Ahsoka and Vader fight, I could see the similarities in like the whole setup of master versus apprentice, but like different ways, I guess. But my qualm is that in Obi-Wan, it didn't come off as a parallel or an homage to the Ahsoka fight. It came off as them like straight up ripping it off.
Oh no, this entire show was like, if you've ever played Fallen Order, you've seen the Obi-Wan show, just straight up. Like, Obi-Wan breaking into the Inquisitor Fortress, that's just straight up in the game. Like, everything he did in that fortress is in Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a joke.
And then even, okay, we should save the third sister for later, but as far as comparisons to Fallen Order go, they kind of do her character similar. I'm not saying the exact same, but in a similar sense of like, oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney just straight up ripped like that story from the second sister and just gave it to the third sister. Because like I said before, this might be people's first introduction to Star Wars, so they wouldn't know about Fallen Order, and so they think, oh, this is original. But if you've like, you know, play Fallen Order and watch the Obi, you're like, there's a lot of differences here. I'm not sure if I like, or a lot of similarities. I'm not sure if I like them.
I feel like we've had many similar conversations whenever we talk about Marvel properties. It's just like, this is for the normie, you know. So how mad can you really be when, you know, it doesn't have like all the, like, it's either ripping off other things or, you know, doesn't include all the fan characters, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're dumb or if I don't want to call them smart, but it was really, I guess, not a tactical. I don't want to sound like a what's it called, an army person, whatever, but it was an interesting decision to do those things in the Kenobi show, knowing that some fans would be upset because, like you said, some people are just casual TV show watchers, you know. So like the Obi-Wan show, they'll be like, "Oh, I liked it. It was really good." But then like that sets up, you know, a lot of the fans are unhappy, and then it could be like they can dismiss criticisms of the show as, "Oh, you're just a toxic fan," you know.
Right.
And it's just like, like, obviously, like from a technical standpoint, it's not bad, you know. Some of the stuff looks really good, you know, but from like in the context of like the whole, I guess, Skywalker saga and whatnot, it's a little rough.
Yeah, it's very bad. But even then, on the whole, like, technical thing, like, there are so many just dumb, unforgivable sequences and shots that just blow my mind that like somebody watched this like back and said, yeah, that looks good. The first one being the chase scene where the like bounty hunters are like trying to capture baby Leia.
That
like,
was so drawn out. It was a
so
rough.
Oh my, like literally one of them just ran straight into her. It's not like Leia like even Looney Tune the branch back and then launched at him. No, he just straight up ran straight into a tree branch.
Yeah,
but
that was the first instance where I was concerned with what they were going with the show, because I was like, wow, this is, you know, it's really not bad, but it's kind of telling when this is the scene you choose to draw out, you know.
Yeah, but then like there's another. It's when they're in the Inquisitor Fortress, and there are multiple of them. And, my God, fucking Obi-Wan and his accomplice, I can't even remember her name, but they like made a big deal out of her like death, everything. So she was important, but for the life of me, I just can't remember her name.
We'll call her Imperial British lady.
Yeah, Imperial British Lady. That's how we'll refer to her. She, like, both of them should have been caught like 10 times over. And then they killed the most memorable Star Wars character of all time, Wade.
Wade, my boy.
Oh my, dude! When that happened, I just thought of that one meme from like when Markiplier was playing Among Us, where it's just like, Wade's dead. Yes, and
Yeah, that was a weird thing because like you said before, I forgot with what. I think it was Obi-Wan. Like, we know they survived, but like the whole show is like we kind of know these people survive, and so with that being said, it's kind of hard. It's hard to create tension, but it's like, how do I phrase? It's not impossible to tell a good story knowing that most characters survive, because like you got Clone Wars, you know, like that most of them survive, but it's still a good show because it's well written, and
it's well written, it's well acted,
like, you know, to deepen the story. You know, it makes the transition of Anakin's fall to the dark side seem more plausible and more realistic. It's like, oh yeah, he went through some shit during the wars, you know.
Right.
But
Clone Wars is like the anti Obi-Wan, where like we know most of these characters are going to survive the show, but there's still a lot of tension and build-up when these characters are still in this situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the characters that we don't know that survive, like, you know, in Clone Wars, Ahsoka, Rex, Cody, all those, or Cody we do know, but Rex, Ahsoka, whatever, they're good characters. They're fun. And obviously Ahsoka went through character change, because I think when she first came out, people like hated her. And
oh yeah, no, everybody despised her as like the Scrappy-Doo sidekick, but now she's like the most beloved character in the whole franchise.
Yeah, and that's called character development. That's great. She might have started out kind of rough, but she grew. You don't get that with like what was Imperial British Lady? I didn't care what happened to her.
I really did not care for her at all. I think you said it best, where this is like the first Star Wars product that takes away from Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's like the characters that we're left with that we don't know, it's just, oh my god. And speaking of which, the fake Grand Inquisitor death, like when that happened, like if you watched Rebels, you knew he was coming back. It wasn't a big thing. It was
because everybody knew that's like, oh, he's probably just like faking it, like, because apparently, well, nobody watched Clone Wars, everybody watched Rebels, because everyone online was talking about like, oh, that's some bullshit. He's definitely still alive.
Yeah, and
you know.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, some people might not have watched Rebels, and you know, oh, they're like, oh, he died, and it's like, even then, it didn't come across as like a permanent thing, because I'm gonna be really honest, the Grand Inquisitor is like silly compared to his animated version. In the animated version, he was still kind of silly, you know, because it was Rebels.
He was a lot more threatening, and I think a lot of that was his voice actor. Fuck, I'm blanking on his name. He played Malfoy's dad in Harry Potter.
It's like it has Isaacs in it, right? Is it?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, I'm gonna Google this, but keep going on about your point.
Yeah. Anyways, you're right. The voice actor had a lot to do, because I don't know. Okay, so I don't want to trash on the person who played the live-action Grand Inquisitor. Did a good job. Did great. You know, the makeup, whatever. A lot of work goes into
Jason Isaacs, for the record.
Jason Isaacs. All right.
Yeah.
Props to everyone who brought the Grand Inquisitor to life. The thing is, it's one of those things where like, did they not watch the Rebel show, which is the only previous incarnation of this character? Because the voice, I'm not saying it has to be pitch perfect accurate or anything, but like, it
has to be somewhat close. It
was so like higher pitched and so goofy sounding that I didn't know what to make of it. Because that one scene where like he walks and he's like, hello, I was like, what? Like, what is this?
Oi, I'm pretty.
Yeah, I was like, what is he saying? Like, why is he saying it like that?
He's leaving you in the gutters, mate.
We're leaving you when we found you. The gutters, mate. Oi.
Yeah.
You got a license to get stabbed, eh? And it's like, what?
I kind of looking back at it now, the only character that was improved from the original version, in my opinion, was the fifth brother, because I kind of like did not like him at all in Rebels, but like the like 2 scenes he's in Obi-Wan, it's just like, man, this should have been the version in Rebels, honestly.
Yeah, and like for
'Cause
me, oh, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like, because in Rebels he was just like a straight up Team Rocket grunt, basically, but in this he's like an actual character.
Yeah, the only thing that I found annoying, but I think it works well for the character. But he did come off as like whiny, but in context, it makes sense for him to be like, what's the word? Not whiny, but like kind of like the whole, I'm telling on you, third sister, for doing this, because like, you know,
Oh, like a tattletale.
yeah, because like the Inquisitors like basically were butting heads the entire time, and it makes sense because like failure wasn't an option and whatnot.
Oh, you know what's one thing that like made absolutely no fucking sense was Vader working with the Inquisitors, because Vader hates the Inquisitor.
We should have seen more of Vader murking the Inquisitor, or like basically throwing him around or bullying them.
Yes, dude, I cannot for the life of me figure. I know we talk about this later, but I just want to bring this up now. The third sister, the fact that she's still alive, I call bullshit. Like, Vader would have chopped her head off. Straight up. Vader is a merciless killer.
Yeah, because, like, I haven't read, like, the comics to, like, their entire... But I've seen the panels of him, like, just straight up killing 2 of them because they were falling in love and whatnot. And then, like, cutting another one's hand off because, you know, punishment and whatnot. But in this show, he's kind of just like... you failed. I'm gonna slowly lift you off the ground, and then, you know, turns out you
kind of
didn't
stab
fail.
you just a little bit.
And that's the thing.
I don't know how to survive that stabbed either. Apparently, stab wounds are the new calling.
Probably. I mean, in it's I forgot which video it was, but they're like, if you got sliced by like a lightsaber or whatnot, it would be better than if you were to be stabbed by an actual blade because it cauterizes the wound. So you wouldn't bleed to death. So I guess she could survive, but the chances of her facing Vader twice and surviving, it's like, I don't know.
But the thing is, she has a hole in her stomach. No amount of cauterization is going to save her life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But as far as... this, I guess, is kind of a good segue to Vader's portrayal in the show. I think it was a good portrayal. I think they could have done more with it.
No, they definitely could.
Like we said earlier, like the whole him bullying the Inquisitors, like this was a good step towards the right direction. The thing is, a lot of steps are being taken when it kind of should be like not the norm, but it's sending a lot of mixed signals because you have the animated Vader in Rebels and whatnot, who's like super powerful. He kind of just throws people around. Then you have the live action Vader, who is kind of okay. I don't want to anger anyone, but the movie Vaders are kind of a joke compared to what we're told he should be and what he actually is.
Right.
Because like we're supposed to be told like, oh, he's the other Sith. He's the really powerful, but like the guy just keeps losing each time because because it's like Obi-Wan's supposed to survive. He has to take that L in order for the plot to make sense.
The plot to happen. Honestly, what I think they should have done with Vader in the Obi-Wan show is if they're gonna do the rescue Baby Leia plot, what they did, they should have had Obi-Wan Vader continuously getting close to Obi-Wan, but always just missing him, which just angers him more and more every single time it happens.
And then he takes it out on the Inquisitors. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, honestly.
And that's...
like the first time they meet up on that planet, Obi-Wan should have already been leaving on the ship, and Vader's just like, darn, foiled again, but like a lot angrier.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing too. There are 2 moments in the show where Vader does a really cool thing, is interrupted, and then doesn't continue that thing.
Yeah.
The first part was when I forgot what planet it was, but he does the cool like setting something on fire and then dragging Obi-Wan through that fire. Then he gets interrupted by Imperial British lady, and then he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he literally just stands there and walks away.
and the thing is, like, Obi-Wan doesn't even run away. He's picked up by a droid who is already like he's slow as hell. Like, you didn't think you could just like force grab him or anything, Vader? Like, that's not how that works. Like, you were doing it.
No. There was one video I saw describing it as like a Star Wars video game, and the scene that he specifically used was the one where he pulls the ship down, and then a second decoy ship blasts off. So the question is, why didn't he just use the Force again? And somebody was just like, well, you see, because it's like the video. They were joking, but they're like, it's like the video game, you know? He used that ability, now he has to wait for his Force to recharge.
Recharge time.
You know, just like the video game. Yeah, there's a recharge time after that powerful ability. And I also I'm gonna be a little bit of a nerd here and say, if playing Force Unleashed, it's like, yeah, that's a cool scene, but it's no Star Killer literally pulling a Star Destroyer out of the atmosphere.
I've seen that. I haven't played the game, but I've seen that clip, and that clip is always cool as hell. But yeah,
dude, I fucking love that game.
Yeah, but as far as like, in what's it called? In the original trilogy, it was kind of excusable because it's like, you know, limited by the technology of their time and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like now that Disney owns Star Wars, like there's no excuse for them to not show the Force to its entirety, because like the whole point and the whole and not I guess it was a good way to cover up that they couldn't do much like display with it, was to keep the Force like a mystery and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped with the original, because it's like it kept it a mystery and it allowed them to like not do big Force things all the time. But now that they can do that, they have the CG, you know, they have the teams, they have the resources, they don't do it, and it's still like it's not that great. Like, it's like you said, like Vader has a recharge time, and it's like, what? Like, when
I think the best Darth Vader scene to come out of Disney owning Star Wars was at the end of Rogue One, and that's like the only time they've got it right, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a really cool ass scene, but
it's such a terrifying scene. But yeah, they didn't do that here.
Yeah.
So
one thing I find funny about the Rogue One scene is that everyone's like, it's so cool, it's such a cool Vader, and then someone pointed out like, yeah, because he's facing a bunch of unnamed characters.
They're not main enough.
Yeah, he doesn't need a Force recharge because he's facing NPCs. That wasn't gameplay. That was a cutscene. That's why he was able to do that.
Yes. Oh my god. It's still an amazing scene though.
Yeah.
But you know, but what that scene in Rogue One shows, they obviously have the fucking materials to do it. Mm-hmm. They just don't. Like, another example of like shit they can do but don't is they literally brought Peter Cushing back from the dead for Tarkin in Rogue One, but they couldn't make Hayden Christensen look 19 again in that one scene.
Yeah, and it's like they're famous for de-aging people, so it's like, you know, raising people from the dead just to like have them play their characters. And it's like,
yeah, you go first.
You could argue that it's for like not the, or what's the call? It's for the authenticity and whatnot, but it's like it really isn't though, because there are many other scenes where it's like they kind of throw authenticity out the window.
My God, no, it was that one fucking scene. Which, by the way, there should have been more. Again, this was back to my like original idea of been like Obi-Wan just going through like Force training basically, and a lot of flashbacks. There should have been more Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor flashbacks, which there were like almost none of. But like the one episode that did have that, it was just like, you know, 50-year-old Hayden Christensen in his 19-year-old clothing, because, you know, people age, and he has like all these like wrinkles and like sunspots. Basically, it's very obvious that, you know, it ain't right.
Yeah, and it's like they could have used post Padawan Anakin instead, but they chose to do Padawan Anakin. It's like, what? That
would have been a much better decision if they did post Padawan Anakin.
Because it's like, he's older at that point, and it works because your actor's older as well. Why did you try to force him into 19 years old?
No, like, I talked to a friend about this, and they said like they didn't even need to use CGI for that. There's like makeup technology they've been using since like the 40s. Like, could have had the same effect. I'm just like, yeah, why didn't they at least do that? Holy shit!
Yeah.
So Fuck practicality, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like, it's weird because I think this is a thing with most Disney projects where it's like a lot, like they pull their punches in weird places, and it's like you could have gone the extra mile, and it wouldn't have been. And again, not to what's it called? Get on any person who was involved in the project's back, but from what I've seen, it's something that could have been easily fixable. You know, you could have spent the same exact amount of time to do more makeup on him. You know, because you don't even have to CGI it. You don't have to de-age him. You could just do like some practical makeup. You know.
Right. Now, I think not too long ago there was like a press release from like Kathleen Kennedy, who said like they learned their lesson from Solo, that they shouldn't recast, you know, young actors to play, you know, younger version of characters, but like that's not the lesson they should have taken away from Solo. And I feel like the fact that they missed the point continues into the Obi-Wan show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's not why people were mad.
Yeah,
it's because it was just because Solo wasn't even that bad. It was just more like it was
very
not a pointless thing, but it was like, why was this the project you chose to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
this was no one's passion project.
That reminds me, apparently Solo and Obi-Wan take place around similar times, at least within a year or two of each other, and that Solo and just someone put them together, and that like, because you know, obviously in the original trilogy, you don't really like hear about the ages and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Han Solo's older than Leia.
Yeah, you know Han Solo's older than Leia, but then like when you put them together at this time period, the Leia we see in the Obi-Wan show.
Oh god.
And the Solo we see in the Solo movie, yeah, that's.
Oh no.
You know,
that's
like,
so bad.
At the when they fell in love and whatnot, it was you know, they were both consenting adults. They were both above the age of 18.
They're like pretty deep into like their lives, so I feel like they're both pretty mature.
Yeah, but seeing that like where they were at this same time period, it just doesn't. It felt like, oh, what? It just reminded everyone that there was like, how old are they? Probably like 10 years or something like that.
It's at least 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of like drives that home, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, no, because there was always that 10-year difference between them, but like you never really noticed it because she was like in her late 20s, he was like in his 30s. It was like, you know, that's not bad, you know?
Yeah.
But then like when you put it in comparison like that, where here's like a 20-year-old dude and here's a 10-year-old around the same time. Just like, oh god, oh no.
Yeah, it gets weirder when you like move like the timeline around, but like, you know, it was just an interesting thing to do, I guess. Or I don't want to like put too much emphasis on it, but it's like it's kind of weird now that we're able to have this comparison. It's like, great, it's not something we needed, but it's something that came out of it anyways.
Yeah, and that's a very bad thing. Yeah, no, it's again. I feel like you should have just cut out the middleman and not have either Luke or Leia in the show altogether.
Exactly.
Again, I really did not like the rescue baby Leia arc. Because again, his problem with baby Leia, she's like 10, but you know, baby Leia is probably the best way to refer to her. Honestly, I think you said it best, where you're just like. It's just showing us that Leia was always like that, even as a 10-year-old, instead of her like being flawed and actually developing into the Princess Leia we know. You know?
Yeah. I didn't bring it up in this thing, but I think another talk we had in the Discord was that if they had to keep Leia in this show, because the actor did a fine job. Like as far as child actors go, like the actor for Kid Leia was, good job. But if they had to keep Leia in like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, they should have gone about it where she starts off as an annoying brat, because she is the Princess of Alderaan. That comes with its perks, right. And it also comes with, because we all know about the bratty child that like is born with a lot of things,
Right.
But we should have seen that progression of bratty child to not responsible adult, but like. She learns about responsibility. She kind of has her own, like, I guess, Peter Parker, responsibility arc. But no, she straight up spits like, not politics, but she straight up like goes to her cousin and
it's her cousin.
It's like she straight up goes to her cousin and goes, "You are unloved," and I'm like,
She's
"Dang."
just like, damn, you out here being a dumbass. Leia out.
No, that's pretty much what she does, and it's like obviously she grew up in like the princess has to uphold appearances, but even then, it's like I don't think 10-year-olds would like spit straight facts, you know, because
Yeah.
because to be honest, I think because before I go on, Bail Organa, always nice to see him. There will never not be a bad appearance for him. Anyways, I
Rip
think
my homie.
yeah, I think it also would have been an interesting character thing for him to like try to protect, because he's given the task to protect Leia, but then he realizes that not only does she have her parents like sense of duty or whatnot, but the fact that he's like, I can't protect her from the world because she has like that in nature to go out and like do things and help people and whatnot.
Right.
That could have also been an interesting character arc for him. He's like, I can't protect her anymore. I have to expose her to the fact that the Empire is evil, at
Right.
that
Not good. They're not democracy.
yeah, because in Rebels she appears, right, and she's already like doing things for the rebellion, so it's like
yeah, she's already part of the rebellion by the time of Rebels.
yeah, so it's like this would have been an interesting segue for that arc too, and it's
The
just
start of that arc, yeah. But no, I guess she's just always been that way.
she was always
honestly
facts.
That Luke is probably the best character in Obi-Wan because he acts like an actual child and he doesn't even have like a single line.
Yeah.
This guy is like, Luke, you gotta. Owen's like, Luke, you gotta do your chores, and he just like runs off and starts pretending to be a pilot, like a child.
It really drives home the whole, but I gotta pick up some power converters.
Yeah. Well, because see, Luke's arc doesn't begin until he's 19.
Exactly. And that was a good, because if they had tried to shove in like a Luke type thing, I would have been like, oh, okay, this is a bit much. There's no
And
reason.
Luke was always like this before his character development.
Yeah. Also, Aunt Beru, it's really cool that they got the actors from episode 3 or episode 2 or whatever.
Like 2 and 3, yeah,
2
both
and 3 to play them again. But when what's her name, the third sister, invaded their house, I felt no tension because once again they are alive for episode 4, so we know how they die.
I know that they're gonna live, and I know that they're gonna meet like a very brutal end later. But like, so yeah, there's no tension. But again, that also then makes it unrealistic because the third sister would have fucking murdered them very brutally again.
Yeah,
it's just like there is no tension because like I know their fate, but you're like not even trying to play it up like there is tension,
Yeah, because it's like, because from like a writing point, the only person in danger is what's the third sister's name?
Riva, something like that.
I think it's Riva. The only person in danger is Riva because she's the only one that does not appear in any future, any part of the timeline in the future, right? So we know that Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen, and Luke do not die and are not harmed in any way whatsoever. But the thing is, she's the one that's attacking them. So in any other writing thing, they would be the ones in danger, but they're not because we know they survive.
We know they're fine. No, again, this is just like a little short comparison to Clone Wars. I don't want to do this too much, but like it's just to bring up a point. Basically, one of the most suspenseful episodes of Clone Wars is an episode where Anakin and Mace Windu are trapped under rubble that was caused by an explosive by Boba Fett, and I know all 3 of those characters are going to be fine. Yet, like watching Anakin and Mace Windu just like have a conversation while like basically fighting for their lives, I actually feel stressed out for them.
Exactly.
Because they were able to build tension with the fact that even though I know these characters will be fine, there still is a lot of tension because everyone is acting like there is tension. And that's something they don't do in Obi-Wan, is nobody acts like there's tension. Like they're literally stopping for the dumbest reason.
Exactly. And it's like it comes across as less like danger and tension, more more like, oh, there someone's, this is happening. This is on my screen right now.
Yeah.
And especially because like in that one, it's not pitting two characters against each other. It's them being in a life-threatening situation and reacting as such. So it comes across like, they believe that they're about to die, so we believe it too,
Right.
But in the Obi-Wan shows, they were just like, go, run, Luke. Run.
Oh, we got to do the thing. I don't know. Okay, so this is going to sound like a weird thing to compare it to, but Muppets Christmas Carol is probably one of the best adaptations of the Christmas Carol story as universally agreed upon, because Michael Caine played up the role of Scrooge as if he were in a Shakespeare production. He has confirmed it, even though, he's performing with Muppets. And that is what sells the role, is that even though it's with Muppets, he is like playing this role as like it's probably the most important role of his goddamn life. And that's what they should have been doing in Obi-Wan's. Like, even though they know they're gonna die, they should still be acting like we're gonna, it's like this is life or death. But they're not like that. They're just like, all right, time to fucking gun the third sister down with our hillbilly shotguns.
That was
Yeehaw, Tatooine.
Tatooine pride. That was a really funny thing when Owen was like, oh no, and Inquisitors, oh no, someone's coming after us, what do we do? And Ambrose just straight up goes, get the gun, sweetie.
Get the guns ready. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru support the Second Amendment.
They stay strapped 24/7. And it was so funny the way Aunt Beru just like, it's like, he's like, what do we do?
What we gotta do, like fucking
and she straight up pulls out the blasters, and I was like, oh my god.
I actually did laugh at that scene. I don't think I was supposed to laugh at it, but I did laugh at it.
Yeah, I laughed at it too, and I was like, this is the best character development in this goddamn show.
See, this is what I need more of. I need to know more about the fact that Emperor supports the Second Amendment.
I need to know more of why she stays strapped. Oh man, but
there are a lot of Tuskens out there, man. A lot of Tuskens, but
yeah. Speaking of blasters and whatnot, I feel bad for stormtroopers as each adaptation they go through, they are less and less threatening. The only good stormtrooper thing in Star Wars was Rogue One. Even the originals made them off to be kind of silly.
Dude, I am sick and tired of stormtroopers being treated as jokes, and I feel like they should be the terrifying, threatening force that the story always says they are, but they never are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was it the level in Lego Star Wars I fucking despise the most? This is the complete saga. Was one where it's literally you enter a room and there's just an abundance of stormtroopers. That's what it should be like. If these stormtroopers just come in waves. And they should feel like an unstoppable, terrifying force. But they never feel like that. Yeah, they're always just treated as a fucking joke.
Yeah, because I don't know, the droids come across more threatening, and they're more comic relief. They're more funny than the stormtrooper. And that's how they should have played it as. Stormtrooper, they may not be as good as, other factions of armies, but the scary part about them is that there's a whole bunch of them, and that's what Rogue One did really well, is that no matter how many the rebels gunned down, 5 more would take their place.
Right. No, that's one of the things I loved about the season 1 finale to Mandalorian, was that, they would it was 3 characters trapped in a bar with literally hundreds upon hundreds of stormtroopers ready to gun them down. They were so outnumbered. And there was actual threat intention with that, even though we know it's stormtroopers. But that was one of the few times, that in Rogue One is one of the few times stormtroopers have actually been the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and what was the actor's name for Moff Gideon again?
Oh, fuck, the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yet another fucking actor. Yeah. I can't remember.
But anyways, Moff Gideon, his actor plays the role really well. He seems threatening, and therefore his underlings seem threatening as well. Mm-hmm. In this one, they so I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I feel like I would be a better strategist than almost any character in Star Wars.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, no, they have shit strategies.
they make the dumbest decisions, and I'm just like, bro, like that's not how any of this works. They must not have that.
Mhm.
Sun Tzu must not have existed in the Star Wars universe because they make terrible decisions. And it's like,
Dude,
it's
the
so annoying.
the only race in Star Wars to ever make smart decisions were the Mandalorians, who witnessed the fact that their laser blasts were being deflected by the lightsabers, so they invented shotguns.
Oh, that's good old Mandos.
Good old Mandos.
But yeah, the what were we talking about? The stormtroopers, right?
We're talking about stormtroopers.
What episode was it when they escaped the Inquisitor fortress? When they left,
It was like 5, I think.
the dumbest part about that episode was when they were leaving, and Obi-Wan didn't even try to hide the fact that he had a child under his coat. That was like
oh my god!
two
No, that
people
was so
on
fucking
trench
dumb.
coat. It was the same level of like silliness as two people in a trench coat.
No, because it was 2 people in a trench coat. Like, it's not the same level. It is. That's what it was. He was literally like, no one will see the child if she's under the coat. It's like, Obi-Wan, I understand you've been in the desert for a while, but like, you okay?
No, because like the moment he saw it, I was like, I wonder if someone's gonna stop him and ask him what it is, and he's gonna be like, "It's just a large tumor. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, no, that was one of the scenes I was talking about earlier. It was just like, that is so fucking dumb. Where it's literally him walking with her under. That's one of the times I'm talking about. Like, they should have been caught. The other ones included like the fact that they were talking quite loudly over the like communicators in completely silent room, and there was like the 2 stormtroopers that completely missed Obi-Wan as he quite visibly went behind the wall when he's already in their view.
Yeah, line of sight.
And then they don't know he's there till the communicator beep.
Yeah, and then what was that other scene where Imperial British lady just she doesn't punch, she doesn't kick, she straight up palms a stormtrooper in the face, and that disorients him, and that pushes him back all the way. And I'm like, what? Like I would have been what's the word? My suspension of disbelief would have been more, whatever it is. Like, I would have believed it more if she attacked from like behind, if she did literally anything else and just straight up facepalm a stormtrooper. And I was like, what was that?
I would have believed the punch. I would have believed the kick. Hell, I would have believed the slap.
But no, it didn't look like there was much force behind the facepalm either. It just looked really funny. And that's speaking of Imperial British lady, the fact that we can't remember her name.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. Because when she sacrificed herself, she was like, all right, I'm going to blow myself up. And then
I'm going to save all of you. Now I can't remember her name.
Yeah. And it was even funnier because she was like, I'm gonna stop their advance by blowing myself up. And I'm assuming the intention was, I'll blow myself up with them included, as you know, most of those like type of sacrifices happen where it's like, oh, if I'm going down, you're going down too. But by the time she pulled the pin or whatever, she turned on the detonator, they were already retreating. They were going back.
It definitely did not halt their attack, I can say that much.
No Imperial died from that.
She just wanted to get out of the story. Yeah. And she's like supposed to be an important character too, that like her holster became Leia's gun holster, because we needed to know the origin of Leia's gun holster.
Like, I forgot that was a thing too, where it's like, oh, it's her gun holster. And like the funniest part about that scene was when he was like, here's a holster, and Leia's like, doesn't have a gun in it, and Obi-Wan's like, you're 10, I'm not giving you a 10, I'm not giving gun.
That was the most sensible thing Obi-Wan did in the whole goddamn show.
Oh man, but it was, wait, how did he even get the holster from her body? Wasn't it still attached to her?
We don't ask these kind of questions.
Wait a second. I'm not gonna like
Oh.
rewatch it, but like wait a second. How
Hold on
did he
a
get the
second.
holster?
Oh, I just thought of another character that should have made an appearance in the Obi-Wan show, Cody. Because we still don't know
Yeah.
Cody's fate.
Yeah.
Nobody knows Cody's fate to this day.
And that's so
Like,
weird
that's
because it's
been
like
an unclear fate for like 20 years now.
the last time we saw Cody was literally in episode 3, but no, let's have Imperial British Lady. Like, even a cameo would have been like, oh, Commander Cody, how are the new recruits? Like, because I think that's that's his Legends fate, where he's like
Right,
designated
he
as
trained the stormtroopers. Yeah.
But
But
there's
not
no
happened.
mention of Cody whatsoever at all since episode 3. And it's
I
like-
would have accepted if that homeless veteran clone was just Cody, because that would have literally been anything. But no, it wasn't even that. It was just some clone.
It was some 501st clone, or I think 501st.
Yeah, it was 501st too. It wasn't even the 212.
It was just some 501st, and that was a weird thing too, because it's like, yeah, it was Anakin's battalion and related to Anakin, but that wouldn't have impacted Obi-Wan as much because his battalion was the 212.
The 212.
Yeah, the 212.
Yeah.
So it's like they could have just switched the colors and
Literally just get rid of the blue lines, put some yellow lines on there.
yeah, and we would have it would have been an even more impactful scene, not because of the clones that betrayed him, but because that was a part of his own team.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was the 501st, and it's like, I guess.
Dude,
But-
fucking... I want to know why Disney is such fucking cowards not to answer what happened to Cody. They mentioned him once in Rebels, but that was Rex talking about, like, his days in the Clone Wars. Other than that, Cody just, like, does not fucking exist. He should have fucking been in Bad Batch. Holy shit. He better be in season 2.
I was about to say they might introduce it because it looks like they're bringing back those what was it, the commando troopers.
Oh, yeah.
So he might be training them, which is weird because
Okay.
I thought the commandos were the only ones save the Bad Batch, and the people who took out their inhibitor chips that were not affected by Order 66. But you know, what do I know? Disney doesn't say anything.
Right.
And that's so weird because Disney seems to be like, they said that Legends no longer exist, but it seems like they're trying to trust that people know about Legends to help fill in the gaps.
Right.
Because it's like,
No,
oh,
because they like, what is it? They in Rebels they mention like the Mandalorian Jedi War all the fucking time, but that's from like the Old Republic. One of the first things they made non-canon.
yeah, it's like
It's like, what do you want?
they keep
No.
trying to like it's not canon, but it's still there, and it's like, what?
Fuck it, if that's the case, Starkiller's canon. I'm declaring it right now. I don't care if it doesn't work. He's canon.
Yes, that would be an interesting thing. That would be interesting if they brought it up in the Ahsoka show. Like, I think I said it before too, but like the apprentice of Anakin versus the apprentice of Vader.
Yeah.
But
No,
the-
that would be so fucking cool. Like his secret apprentice, like coming out from the shadows finally after like years of hiding.
So I'm like,
I'd accept that.
but like the only
That'd be
way
so
for them to make that happen is to like, what's the word? What's the word when it's like you depower a character, or what's the word? What's the phrase?
I think it's just depowering.
Yeah, or yeah,
Nerf. It's nerfing. You nerf them.
yeah, nerfing him. The only way to be able
Yeah.
to do that is to nerf him, which will make all the Force Unleashed the people who played Force
Very
Unleashed
mad.
really mad.
That's a good point. But
We'll see.
it's still, I just want to see him. I need Starkiller back. I love Starkiller.
Oh man, but given how the Obi-Wan show went, who knows what they'll do for Ahsoka? Like, I don't know. My hopes
Ahsoka's
are
gonna be
not.
good.
My hopes are not that high anymore because it's like they're gonna market it as an Ahsoka show. This, you know, maybe like an Ahsoka character study, but it's gonna be the Ahsoka
I
show.
think the Ezra
Except
show.
she saves somebody else. She saves a child.
Oh, she has to learn how to be a mother. What a plot twist this one is.
It's like,
Because you see, Mandalorian is about Pedro Pascal learning how to be a father. The Bad Batch is about a group of like clones learning how to be a father.
Obi-Wan Kenobi
Okay.
is about
Is about Obi-Wan
being
learning how to be a father. Hell, even Boba Fett was just like, I gotta take care of these people. I gotta be like a father to them.
Yeah, it seems it's starting to get repetitive, and I really hope they don't add some marketable like baby character. Like the only baby I think we'll get is like baby Ahsoka, which is like, you know, I guess flashback, whatever. But I just
So
really
they're
hope they do
making
something
another
different.
like what was it? They're making another show, another animated show in the Clone Wars style,
Oh, I know what
which is
you're talking. It's Tales of the
it's
Jedi,
gonna
right?
have baby Ahsoka. Yeah, it takes place like before Episode 1, and they're gonna have baby Ahsoka.
For that one, I'm
It's
really
like
excited
people.
for Dooku, because Dooku's
Yeah.
an interesting character, but he kind of feels underwhelming. But whatever, that's another discussion
Oh,
for
we'll
another
see what
time.
happens. Maybe that show will be about Dooku learning how to become a father.
Can't wait for him for Dooku to just show up at the end and be like, "This really, these have been the tales of the Jedi." Oh, man.
What if the Ahsoka show is her learning how to be a mother to Ezra?
Oh no, she kind of already went through that arc in Rebels. We don't need it again.
Well, it's gonna happen again.
But yeah, like I hope if Ezra is gonna be in that show, I hope they do him good, because he wasn't the greatest in Rebels.
God, the only way this show could be saved is at the end of the show, she makes it to where Ezra and Thrawn wind it up, and it's literally just Thrawn with like a beard, just he's gone insane talking to Ezra's skull.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be like a great way. That's not what's gonna happen
Yeah.
at all. I guarantee you, they're both gonna be alive on whatever fucking asteroid they ended up on. That, or they're just gonna straight up have Thrawn killed because they hate the good characters.
Yeah. Because it's like we can't hope, because we already got our good Thrawn representation in Rebels, so we can't hope for a good Thrawn interpretation anymore. We've already cashed that check.
Cash that check, man. Dude, fucking Rebels was good at every character that wasn't original.
Yeah, every character that either appeared in some other like medium was a good character, but their original characters, they weren't good
They
characters.
sucked.
They weren't. Yeah.
Rebels is a bad show. I do not apologize to anyone that likes Rebels. You like a trash show.
The only good episodes were the episodes that didn't have the main cast. Every time someone from another show appeared, it got better.
Yeah. Dude,
Is-
Darth Maul had the most interesting arc, and then they like ruined his death episode by having Ezra in it 90% of the time.
Yeah. Because everyone's always like, what were the best moments of Rebels? Oh, the Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight, the Ahsoka Vader fight, Rex. No one ever says Ezra. Or,
No one ever says Ezra. Dude, fucking Ezra defeated Thrawn with some shit Deus Machina. That was
Space
just
whales.
yeah, space whales. Now, to be fair to Thrawn, no one could have predicted space whales.
Yeah.
No master tech. Sun Tzu, Art of War, always expect space whales.
He forgot to read that chapter. He was gonna read it. He was gonna read it that day, but just couldn't find the time because he had to deal with them.
That was the next chapter he had bookmarked before the attack.
Oh man, but that's the weird thing too, because like they're so-called gonna be looking for Ezra, but it's the odds are really stacked against him, because Thrawn wasn't stuck with Ezra. In my opinion, Ezra was stuck with Thrawn.
Stuck with Thrawn.
And also, the windows broke, so not only were they exposed to space, they went hyperspeed. So they raw dogged hyperspeed like that. How do you survive that?
Raw dog hyperspeed with an open window to the unknown section. I think Dave Filoni confirmed that they went to the unknown region of the Star Wars galaxy.
And in space too. So even if they survived the hyperspace trip, they stopped in
They're
space.
still gonna be in fucking space. And on top of that, we have Thrawn, who, by the way, whatever space wheel was holding him is definitely dead, and Thrawn now has the advantage again.
Mm-hmm.
But then just like, it's been like over a decade by the time Sabine and Ahsoka finally decide to start their search. It's just like, why didn't you start this search sooner? He is dead.
Like there's no way he survived, and they're just like, we're gonna go look for him, and it's like, what do you mean look for him? You guys live
They're
in
looking
a
for the
universe.
corpse.
Yeah, you guys live in a universe.
Looking
You
for
know
the core.
it's hard enough to find people on Earth, on our small little planet, but you just expanded the playing field to the entire goddamn universe. You're not finding Ezra. He's dead. Cut your losses.
They're looking for a corpse to bury.
Oh, man. At this point, probably. I mean, I wouldn't be like, like grumbles or anything if Ezra came back, but it's like I want to see how they explain it, because it's I can assure you it's going to be some dumbass explanations like, oh, it's some other force power that we didn't know about. It's like Ezra is like, well, you see, I did die, but I used the force to heal myself. I used force healing.
Everyone's always been critical about force healing, but that's like the one power I've always forgiven, because that has been a thing in like the video games and Legends. So I've actually always been accepting of that one.
Well, I'm accepting of it too, but like the times that we've seen it in like the somewhat mainstream, yeah, the times that we've seen it in the mainstream, it was stupid.
Yeah, no, fucking episode 9 force healing where it literally caused the death of someone else. Like, no, that's not how that fucking works. You're not giving up your own life force. Yeah. By the way, episode 9, bad movie. That entire trilogy fucking sucks. I'm not sorry to anyone who likes it. I feel like we should just wipe them from canon and try again with either a Mara Jade Center story. Yeah, an actual plan. Either a Mara Jade Center story, because I want her to come back into canon. You don't know who Mara Jade is? That is the wife of Luke Skywalker in Legends. Fucking fantastic character. That or the Thrawn taking over the Empire trilogy, which is a very good series of books.
That would be much better than what we did get. Because, oh my god, people will defend, like, everyone agrees that Rise of Skywalker was atrocious. You have The Last Jedi fans, which is like, interesting concept, terrible execution. And people are like, but what about The Force Awakens? That was good, wasn't it? It's like, yeah, it was good. Want to know why? Because it ripped its plot points from A New Hope, which was a good movie.
Dude, fucking... Was it Oscar Isaac has said he's like never going back to Star Wars unless he really needs the money, which he never will. He's fucking Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
but like I understand why, because like he was treated so fucking poorly.
Yeah.
Like that didn't like literally if you weren't Daisy Ridley, no one gave a shit about your character. It was the same with Finn's actor. Fuck, why am I blanking on his name? I really liked him.
John Boyega.
John Boyega, yeah. Dude, John Boyega, he was fucking amazing. I loved him.
Yeah.
But, like, he got shafted so far. We were supposed to be talking about Obi-Wan, yet here I am correcting the sequel trilogy.
Time well spent.
Time well spent. But I swear, it's related, because it's all about the shitty writing in the Disney Star Wars era. Because, like, it literally should have been, like... They should have just, like... The idea I always believed personally was there that Finn was like force sensitive. They should have been playing on that since the first movie. On top of the fact that he is an ex-stormtrooper with stormtrooper friends, and like he knows these people are also like basically mind controlled since childbirth. So there should have been like a weight on him whenever he had to like fight them, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Disney Star Wars. So we go back to, I feel like this little tangent we've been on is the root of the problem basically, and that's when it comes to Star Wars, Disney just kind of writes whatever random bullshit comes to mind and says, yeah, that's good. And they just do it.
And it's weird because it's like, it's not like, they write their new things like if they haven't seen the other movies. And it's like, it's not that big of a task to like go and watch it.
Watch a movie.
To have your teams, like your writing team watch it, or whoever's doing it watch it. And that's the other weird thing too, where it's like the other movies with an arguably less resources behind them are better writing wise, and sometimes tech wise than Disney. Disney has everything at their fingertips, and it's like, there's no excuses for bad certain bad things. It's like obviously there are timelines, people crunch what they can, but it's like with a company that size, I'd rather you to hold back on the project and finish what you need to do than give us something shitty, Like don't do like the whole video game aspect of releasing the unfinished version and having us pay full price later.
Right? No, Star Wars under Disney. I feel like when it's its best, they're always very obvious, like passionate projects from like lifelong fans. Like Star Wars Vision. That is literally just fan project after fan project, and most of those are fucking amazing. Star Wars Vision is good. Mandalorian, that is very much they're like from like the first scene, like you can tell this is a passion project by God, why am I just so blanking on names today? I'm normally really good with names. Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
It is very obviously his Star Wars passion project, a Western with a Mandalorian, you know?
Yeah.
And hell, even like Rogue One, despite all of its studio tampering, it's so obvious that this is a passion project, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, then you have like Obi-Wan as contrast, where it is very much like this is an obligation to, you know, fans.
Yeah.
It's not a passion project.
You can clearly tell the differences in the fact that most of the things that you mentioned had original characters and things that like kind of worked within the story versus like, you know, hey, look, this is a legacy character, like our show now, please. And it's like, you know, it doesn't serve to help, you know, boost the character up or to help give them some more depth. It just serves as like a marketing tool, you know, because both the Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, like the titular characters were nothing more than marketing. That's really what they were.
There were 2 whole episodes where like Boba Fett was one where he wasn't even in it, and the other one where he was in it for like 10 seconds. It was basically just Mandalorian
Season 3.
Season 3, yeah. Dude, fucking Visions isn't even canon, but I want it to be more canon than both Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. You know?
Yeah, and yeah, it's just you could tell which ones had like passion behind them versus which one were you know, for the sake of the check and whatnot. And it's like
even Fallen Order is a great game. You know, that is a definitely, again, more of a passion project than any of these like shows. And
yeah.
I'm really and that's why I'm a little scared for the sequel, because like the first one, definitely a passion project, but you know, it was successful, it was popular. So now, is the sequel also going to be a passion project, or is that going to be for the sake of the check, you know?
Yeah. And
I'm really hoping it's the latter.
Yeah, I hope, and that's the other thing too, where it's like it ended on a note where it like, yeah, it ended, but it also like there was room to explore, but I would be fine if Fallen Order 2 does not come out. Like I would be satisfied if it did not come, you know, because we're left with something good. We didn't leave off like a cliffhanger or anything. It was more like what do we do now? And then it's like we you know, this truly has been a Fallen Order, and then the game ends, and you know, there's not much to, you know, there's not much open threads.
Yeah, but they'll find a way. They always find a way.
Yeah.
But no, I remember before Obi-Wan came out, you know, Miss Marvel was going to be coming out around the same. And I remember thinking to myself, like, you know, I'm excited for Obi-Wan because I love Star Wars, and, you know, Obi-Wan actually looks good. You know, Ewan McGregor is talking very passionately about it. I'm hearing so much good stuff about it. And Obi-Wan's my favorite characters. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. And well, meanwhile, Miss Marvel, they completely changed the core of her character and her powers. So I was not looking forward to it at all. Both the shows came out. I winded up not liking Obi-Wan, like, basically at all. And I'm loving Miss Marvel right now. It has yet to have the standard Disney Plus Marvel show thing where it somehow completely butchers it at the end. But I'm very much enjoying Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel is a solid show, and I think it's because they knew that no one really knew, or like at least a big chunk of the MCU fan base was not aware of who Kamala was. So they were just like, yeah, just, you know, they let the people behind it do whatever they want. Versus Obi-Wan, you know, I'm gonna safely say that a lot of Star Wars fans and Disney Star Wars fans at that are aware of who Obi-Wan was. So they were just like, it doesn't matter what we do. Just put Obi-Wan in the title and we'll be fine.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole.
It just goes back to the normie fans. There's no other way to put it.
It's almost.
And I don't want to sound pretentious when I say that, like a giant nerd, but like there's literally no other way to describe it.
Yeah.
Especially when I've heard people say like they watch the prequels before the originals, but they don't like the originals because they think they think Anakin is so high. This is a real thing I've heard. I think Anakin was so hot in the prequels, and they can't get out of the original. Like, the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like, it sucks when the things that are, it sucks when the things that you like are put in the hands of people who don't care, because then it's like, you know, like they can argue as much as they want that, oh, the Obi-Wan shows, you know, they could say like, oh, it was for new Star Wars fans. It's like, it really wasn't though, but they can argue, like they can try to use that argument, whatever. But the point is the fact that any new Star Wars thing that's created, chances are the fan base is, or the audience is going to be consisting of pre-existing people who know of Star Wars beforehand.
Right.
So it's like, the fact that it's mostly catered to new fans, especially with something as you know, especially with the character as lore heavy as Obi-Wan, it's really like a disservice to the people who already knew. Like, they're like, we know this stuff already, like what more can you add? And it doesn't add, it just kind of
doesn't,
you know,
takes away.
Like if it's a, or I don't want to, how do I phrase this, if you were introducing somebody to the character of, like, just to the fact that he exists, Obi-Wan is not a bad show. However, I would not use the Obi-Wan show to introduce Obi-Wan to someone who doesn't know who Obi-Wan is. I would just use the original trilogy and the prequels. That's what I would use, and the Clone Wars.
Right.
I wouldn't use the Obi-Wan show.
Obi-Wan show, no. So I've always thought of like shows and movies that I would ever show like my future kids if I ever have kids. And you know, Star Wars is like kind of always been there. But you know, I've always said if I'm ever showing my children Star Wars, I'm not going to show them Rebels, and I'm not going to show them the sequels. They can watch that later in life if they want to, but I'm not going to introduce those shows to them, or those shows and movies to them. Obi-Wan, I think, has made it onto the list of don't show. Let them find it on their own years later, so they realize how dumb it is.
If I'm going to indoctrinate my kids into Star Wars, I'm doing it the right way.
Doing it with the good stuff, you know? But I will show them the 2003 non-canon Clone Wars, which I feel like at least half of it should be canon, but that's a different conversation, before I show them the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah. Oh, but before I forget, we should probably circle all the way back to the time when I said that we were going to talk about Reva, but... Oh
yeah, we haven't talked about the elephant in the room, I guess.
Yeah. But before we go, any like last minute thoughts about the state of Disney owning these big things and they're kind of like, you know, mishandling them or just like straight up not caring?
I mean, they've been doing it with Marvel for a while as well. But that, again, that's a different conversation because we're like here talking about Star Wars. But it's very much obvious at some point this really did stop becoming like a bunch of people's passion projects and literally just became the very generic for the check, got to follow this very shitty formula. And again, you know, we circle back to like Kathleen Kennedy and like her comment about Solo. And again, it's so fucking obvious that they missed the point of why The Mandalorian worked, and they're trying to emulate the wrong fucking things from The Mandalorian into Obi-Wan, including the father aspect. Yeah, I guess with that said, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
All right. Reva.
Oh god, Reva.
I think that before we start off, she also falls into the camp of or at least the writer, I guess, Disney, protecting themselves from criticism by setting up the idea of toxic fans, because, you know, but like, let's not tiptoe around it. It's kind of like not obviously intentional, but there's a certain level of, if you criticize this character, you're racist, and it's like, that's not true. And it's like, that's that kind of situation that, you know, because on the internet too, a lot of criticism were met with, oh, you're being racist. And like, I'm not going to tiptoe around this either. Some of them were, you know, some of them were just like, you know, just people being racist,
Like,
like straight up
straight up
racism, and
racism?
it's like that's like, you know, what's it called? Ewan McGregor put it best: if you're racist, you're not a true Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
You know?
they can accept like green and blue people, but black people, nah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, but it also on the other side of that coin, you know, if you make any criticism of the character whatsoever, you're you know, it's like you're being racist. And before we
Even if it's
begin
like
with
a
this,
legit criticism, yeah.
yeah, we're approaching this from a writing standpoint. We're not, you know, we're not be like, oh, she's black, therefore her character is bad. No, we're approaching this from a writing standpoint.
Never attack the actor or actress or whatever or the role they play. Attack the character itself for the shitty writing of the character.
Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. But anyways,
Yeah.
Reva, I wouldn't say gave off a strong like a strong first impression. It was more like there's another Inquisitor, but that kind of quickly changed as the show went on, and I knew that things weren't gonna go that well when it was revealed that she knew that Anakin was Darth Vader. At that point, I was like,
I despise that moment. So I despise that moment for so many. One of them being that Obi-Wan already knew that Anakin had started calling himself Darth Vader. He knew that. So, and this was a thing in Legends where how he learned Anakin was still alive was he heard a broadcast talking about Lord Vader, and he had like a full breakdown in a bar. That is honestly probably is a lot better than what should have happened. And you know, we're stealing from the comics anyway, so might as well. Because that one makes a lot more sense. He knew, and he heard Vader again and realized he didn't finish the job like he thought he did. There is no feasible way that she like would have known, like, even as like fucking spoiler, I guess, she was in the temple during Order 66 and saw him, which again doesn't make a lot of sense. He would have slaughtered her. But he didn't. There is no way he would have known that he started calling himself Vader. I don't know. And then just to reveal that this random ass character that Obi-Wan's like never met before, to just reveal that to him, it's the biggest like fuck you I've ever seen to a Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's like in context, it's like it's this character that none of us have ever seen before saying this. And this is before we knew that she was there during Order. So we knew that she was a child from the beginning. You know, they weren't like it wasn't being.
No, I mean the show literally starts off with showing a group of younglings running for their lives during Order 66. So it's very obvious she was a woman. Like there's no fucking question.
But the thing is, like, it's one of those things like we still didn't know this character and what her motivation. And that's the thing about newer TV shows that I'm getting really sick and tired of, is that. Oh, it makes sense, but only if you rewatch it. It doesn't make sense from the get. Like, obviously you're not going to reveal everything, but that they use that whole.
You got to reveal something.
Yeah, you got to reveal something, and it's like they use that as an excuse to reveal that she knew that he was Vader or whatnot. But it was just like it was just not tastefully done, and it was just like, like I didn't physically cringe, but in my mind I was like, oh, that's not like that's.
Her motive was also so stupid because she was like mad at Obi-Wan for not being there, but it's like, motherfucker was like shot down while riding a lizard on fucking Utapau. Like, the fuck is he supposed to do? He was handling war shit. What do you want?
Yeah, she had the anger, like she saw Obi-Wan leave Anakin for dead and not like finish him off, but like she wasn't there for that.
Right.
But yeah, but I will say, I will never not get tired of Order 66 from different perspective. It's amazing how much that scene has grown from like kind of a throwaway thing to having so much like emotion and lore behind it. You know, good job, Obi-Wan. Yeah, you at least kind of started off okay.
I like when like there's like a major event like story world wise, and then like each piece of media like introduces like a whole new like different angle to it. Because they've been doing that with like in Marvel for a while with like the blip, as they call it, when everyone came back. I always love to see like someone else's perspective, because sometimes it's comedic, sometimes it's horrifying, sometimes it literally is just like the blink of an eye. You know,
Yeah.
like I always
And
love to see the different angle on that, and I
yeah,
like seeing that again with Order 66. But yeah,
but yeah,
Reba.
like it was. I don't know. Like in as far as her like actor goes, I don't know if she did like a bad performance or a good one, because it's like, it's like if you had a character who was like the character was a bad actor, right? You know, let's say like there's a like a theater kid TV show, right? And one of the characters, their whole bit is that they're a bad actor. Now, do you cast an actual like an actual bad actor, or do you cast an actor who's so good that they
Sucks.
pull off being bad? So that's like the weird thing where I don't know if she played the character well, or if the fact that the character was so poorly written that she kind of just fit in the role anyways. Because I haven't seen her in anything previous, and I'm not sure if this is her first role or whatever. But
I looked
anyways,
it up. It's not, but I like legitimately have never seen her in anything else. So
yeah, and it's like, so I don't know. I will not like say anything about her acting ability, but in this particular role, she played the character well, in the
that's a
sense
bad
that
character.
like it was a bad character, but she played that bad character well. I feel like in this case, I want to give, you know, everyone who worked on Obi-Wan the benefit of the doubt that it was just, you know, shitty Disney overlord type stuff, and that they did the best with what they had. Still, that being said, her character is kind of not the most unnecessary part of the show, but the most unnecessary part of the show.
I fucking one thing I really hate about her is that like the show is like trying to like show her as like she's so intimidating and evil. Everyone's scared of her, but like she's not like at all. Like she seems like a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum at something. Like do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just like there's nothing. I'm not intimidated by her. She's like acting all big and tough, but it's like a 5-year-old acting all big and tough. There's literally she is the most non-threatening Star Wars villain I've ever seen.
yeah,
So
and it's
like
like
fucking
it's I think the biggest offense, not offense, but like the biggest thing her character causes is, like we said before, they marketed it heavily that Hayden Christensen was returning as Darth Vader, and it's like, oh my god, that's so cool, like we're getting the original actor back, only for him and Obi-Wan to like be together for like 2-3 episodes.
they're like
or like 2
never on
episodes.
screen together. Like they're like barely on screen together.
Yeah, and I know that was the one thing we kind of like had, like, oh, they should have met on the Death Star, like that should have been their next meeting, but even then, technically speaking, the third sister and Obi-Wan, like it was a what's it called, a chase of cat and mouse, right? And that's what Vader, like, if you had replaced the third sister with Vader and he's the one trying to track him down and doing that stuff, it would have been a much more
Better show.
They would have fulfilled on the whole, oh, Hayden Christensen is returning back as Darth Vader.
Hayden Christensen is like barely in the fucking show too.
Yeah.
But that was another problem I have, is like they very heavily marketed the fact that he was returning, and he's just like not in the show at all. And he's like there's no interaction with the Obi-Wans. Again, there should have been more flashbacks in that one episode where he doesn't look 19. He looks his actual fucking age.
Yeah.
And, no, it's just the third sister over and over again, trying to act all tough and intimidating, but it's just like, oh god, the third sister's here again. What did he do? How did she beat Leia in the tunnel? That still doesn't make any sense.
I have no idea. Like, if every time she came on screen, I kind of felt like, when is her scene gonna be over? Like I didn't really care for her scenes that much, because like let's be honest, I have a feeling that the reason they introduced her character was because for a 6-episode series, it was already stretching its plot, and 6 episodes isn't a lot, but somehow they needed to stretch the plot, and somehow, some way, the plot that involves Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan alone was not enough, or was not like, or I don't know what the phrase is, but point is, I feel like the third sister was only there to pad that 6-episode runtime.
Oh no, she definitely was. There was no question about it. She was there for padding. Not only that and marketing, because they're talking about doing a spin-off with her, which is, I guarantee you, the only reason why she is still alive. Because I can think of 3 different occasions where she definitely should have died. Rip Darth Bozo. 1, Vader force choking her on the ship. He would have fucking snapped her neck and not accepted anything she had to say, as she had failed him too many times. 2, Darth Vader stabbing her in the stomach. As I've said before, no amount of cauterization is gonna stop a fucking hole in your stomach from killing you. And 3, fucking Aunt Beru supporting the Second Amendment would have shot her right in the head.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna do like a, like, I don't know, because it's like her character was kind of all over the place, like so
the fucking redemption arc at the end.
Yeah, because it's like she's set up as like we know that in reality Obi-Wan's main Obi-Wan the main antagonist for Obi-Wan the character was Vader, but the main antagonist for the series was Reva, and we don't get like a follow through with that because the main, like the emotional climax and whatnot is the Vader and Obi fight. Because I did not care what was happening with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen and Reva, because every time that happened I was like, I don't want to get back to the Vader fight. That's what I wanted to see.
Well, part of that is like, there was literally no build up with like Owen, Beru, or Luke. We saw them once in the beginning, and then Obi-Wan left the planet to go deal with the baby Leia rescue mission. And that was it. Again, like, that's actually probably part of the reason why there were like no like threat or stakes, is because it's literally just like, here are well-known Star Wars characters that are going to meet a very brutal end later, and we had like no building or connection. Whereas in Clone Wars, whenever that tension happened, we had already built a long-lasting relationship with all of those characters.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really not angry, but I'm really I'm getting tired of Disney only releasing like 6-episode series.
Oh my god, I'm really like 8 to 10, please.
Yeah, at least like, because I've been watching a lot of anime recently, so you can do like, just push it to 12. That's enough time. It's been done before. It's enough time for them, because 6-episode series, what was it? Or it doesn't, or even 6 episodes, it's still enough to do a lot of character development. But that's the thing, none of it happens.
Nothing.
Because if you think about it, technically speaking, a 2-hour movie is about 6 20-minute episodes, and somehow you can get more character development in that runtime versus Obi-Wan, which is like 6 episodes and 40 minutes each. That's like a 4-hour movie right there, but nothing happens. Nothing goes on.
This is the problem I have with like all of the Disney Plus shows except for Mandalorian. Mandalorian is the only one that's done this right. This isn't just like a Star Wars thing. This is all the Disney Plus shows I've seen, which is mainly just the Star Wars and Marvel one. Is that throughout these 6 episodes, it's like 90% like padding and filler. Like in the beginning of the episode, they'll set up the plot. It's just padding and filler, and then the last episode, they have to like wrap everything up, but they ran out of time to do it, despite the fact that they definitely had enough time to do it, and they just like kind of be like, yeah, here you go. And this has been an issue since WandaVision, and I'm sick and tired of pretending this issue does not exist, because it fucking does. I'm not sorry to any Wanda stands out there.
Yeah, like. It's like there's a lot of like you said, a lot of setup, a lot of padding, and a lot of things that just don't get paid off at the end. And it's like, is it just me, or wouldn't you guys have known what the runtime, like how much like time you had to work with? Like, you guys are the ones that wrote the show. Like, you're telling me you can't tweak it to where like you get more like sustenance and substance.
My brother in Christ, you wrote the show. You can have an actual story.
Yeah. Oh, it was like someone was defending the fact that Moon Knight barely touched on his Jewish heritage and whatnot, right? And it's like there just wasn't enough time, and it's like, my brother in Christ, you wrote the show. You could have added it in there.
I gotta say, as a Jewish representative, Moon Knight touched on it enough, and the show was badass. Honestly, the best one because they actually used their time effectively to tell their story and develop their characters. Shock of all shock, I know,
Oh man.
but
Yeah. Obi-Wan fell victim to the 6th episode, yet nothing happens thing.
yeah, it did. And again, like I said before, I know this whole thing has just been me like being very negative towards a lot of stuff, but I don't go into things like being like with a negative viewpoint. Most of the time when I'm watching something, I always have like expectations, but I personally don't think they're true. I go into shows wanting them to be good, and then a lot of the times they just don't turn out too good.
Yeah, and
So
it's like I don't get it when people are like, "Oh, you just have a lot of expectations." It's like it's not I'm like you. I don't expect much from the media that I consume except for it to be at least decent or good or fun to watch or enjoyable. And it's like that sounds like a lot, but like it really isn't. You could there's like literally so much you can do to make something, interesting, enjoyable, good. And it's like it's not really having a bunch of expectations. It's just having standards. Like, is it too much
Right.
to ask that a Disney sponsored show be decent? And it's like I
Well-
don't think it is.
it's not, but like the corporate, like this is gonna sound like some conspiracy theory shit, but like this is actually what happened, where like corporations got sick and tired of like people trashing on their shitty shows, so they like created the idea that, oh, you don't like it, but you're just a fucking incel. Your expectations were too high. Fuck you.
Yeah, and never let it be said that we're complainers. So let's take this like next kind of segment, I guess, to talk about what we would have fixed about the show. And let's start with Riva, because like that was just fresh right there. Let's say that they were dead set on having the third sister in this. How would you have fixed her character?
Well, I think I would have made her like I would have stopped the temper tantrums. That was like the first thing she did, and I would have had her been like, I understand that I'm just my idea is basically just ripping off the second sister from Fallen Order, but like the show kind of already did that, so might as well go all the way and have her just like straight up murk one of the people in the crowd right there and then to basically send a message to both Obi-Wan and Owen. Like that would have been her introduction. That would have actually made her threatening because she's actually dead serious on finding Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I also would have killed her when Darth Vader stabbed her. Her story should have just ended there. That's it. No more.
Yeah.
But
I think I have like similar thing where I would have like made her threatening from the get-go. I think I would have played on the whole like, despite her outward appearance, at her core she's still a traumatized kid from Order 66. So I would have moved, because I think that the fact that she had like her arc wasn't good, but I think it was a good character moment that she didn't kill Luke, because she was like, I've become what I hated,
yeah, it's like I'm literally about to murder a child.
Yeah, and like that was good, but it was sudden, it came out of left field. I would have started with her, like, I guess interrogating the Mos Eisley, or is it Mos Eisley? Is that what they're? Anyways, the people on Tatooine. She's about to go all out, right? But then the person she's interrogating and whatnot, the person's child walks up and the whoever it is like, no, stay back, but the child like walks up anyways and like kind of hugs the parent, and it's like, don't do it, please. And like Reaver kind of like hesitates, but then one of the other Inquisitors finishes the job and like kills them, kills the person.
Oh yeah, therefore she's intimidating, and you get the character signs early on. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, and so have that, and so that's a she has like, you can kind of like tell that she's not all bark and no bite, but that there's something up going on with her, like, you know, there's something going with, there's some internal struggle within her, you know. And I guess as far as to make her like threatening or whatnot, have the person who was have her duel the force wielder from the first episode. I think it was the first episode, right?
Yeah, it's like episode 1.
Yeah, have her duel the force wielder and have her win. So that way you can you can establish that she can fight, she can hold her own, and establish that that she has internal struggle, you know. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of ripping off from the second sister in Fallen Order, but if you lean more into like the traumatized child, or that is still second sister, but like it works. That's the thing.
Second Sister works. That's why everyone likes Second Sister. Yeah,
because like
it's a good game. Play Fallen Order instead of watching Obi-Wan.
Exactly. That's the main takeaway from this. Is don't watch Obi-Wan. Just play Fallen Order and you'll get a much better experience.
Same story, basically.
But like, if you think about it, it makes sense because they're both Inquisitor, both Jedi or they both were Jedi or younglings or whatnot. But the difference is that she's mad at Vader. She wants to kill him. Here's how I would have addressed that if you know. So, I would have her know that how do I put this? I would have her know that someone betrayed them, but she doesn't know who. All she sees when she's a kid, like she does the whole pretend she did, but all she sees is that, you know, it was a blue lightsaber, or yeah, it was a lightsaber. It was a blue lightsaber, and that the clones referred to him as Vader, right? Or actually no, because then it wouldn't make sense. Or how do we address this?
No, because at that point they would have been referring to him as Vader because he was knighted as Vader.
Yeah, but then she would have known that he was Vader, and she would have been trying to kill him. Because the whole point of this is that.
Okay, well, she mentioned that she was hiding under the body, so again, like maybe like there's already like killing happening in front of her. Vader is like, but actually, you know what? How we could fix it instead? We just remove Vader from that part of the temple entirely. He's in a different part. He's in the other youngling group.
Yeah, because like the way I was saying, I think it would have been much more if she's the one that found out that Anakin was Vader. I feel like that would have been a much more better character role because she's like, oh, the person, like I was serving the person that I've been looking for this whole time, and that's another internal conflict that she could have.
Maybe again we can just add this to her character to make that work. Is she like after the clones leave the temple basically, and she's like going through, she like finds the bodies of like her like friends or whatever. She sees that they have like very visible lightsaber marks on them.
Yeah. Or
right.
This one's kind of a stretch, but what if there's like a flashback scene or whatever of her like meeting Yoda, and he's basically like, fine, this is deal with Anakin, Obi-Wan will, just for her like that. Maybe that's why she's mad at, because she knows that Obi-Wan was sent to deal with Anakin.
He's still around.
And that Anakin's still around, you know, he's still kicking, and she's like, wait, why didn't, you know, because I feel like they're relying on the wrong, or how do I put this? They're relying on the wrong trauma for her anger towards Obi-Wan, because she's angry at him, like, where were you when my friends were being killed? I would change that as, where were you when I was being tortured, when I was becoming an Inquisitor? Because like I'm pretty sure the comics are canon or whatnot. Being an Inquisitor is not easy. It's a very painful process. That should have been why she was angry at Obi-Wan. She's like, where were you? Like I was like, you know, everyone else died, but I was still around. Like, why didn't you save me? Like basically like blaming him for not finishing Anakin, because she blames Anakin for her suffering, you know?
Right.
And so she would have figured out that Anakin was Darth Vader, and then she would have turned on him. Except this time, I don't know what they could have done, because like I feel like the reason we're having a little bit of trouble figuring this out is because she's a flawed character from the start. It's really hard to work with what they gave us. But
they gave us nothing.
But I think this goes to show that even with what they were given, what they have, there's so much more they could have done to improve her character. And that's what I always say. Like, I always hate the fact that people bring up finance, or people bring up resources and finances when it comes to like writing and whatnot. Because it's like, because in my opinion, obviously you pay writers, but it doesn't cost anything to write a good story. You know, the only thing it costs is time, and obviously you have to pay people for that and whatnot. But like, you know, like it's different from other things where like, oh, VFX, you have to buy a computer, you have to buy the programs, you have to learn the programs. That's different than writing, where you're just like, you could literally just sit
are typing.
Yeah, just sit in a room and like we've created a better like story arc for Riva, and we've only been sitting here for like an hour and 40 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's
straight
like,
up, just pull up Google Docs, and I've already created a better WandaVision.
yeah. Exactly.
So
And it's like, it wouldn't take that much to fix your character, but you know, I honestly think it just comes down to you know, Disney overlords just screwing everything up again, and basically adding another person to make a spin-off series for, you know. And it's like, oh look, we have this new Inquisitor that, you know, that is the main antagonist for Obi-Wan. Please go watch her show now, please. And it's like, And I feel like the reason they didn't do that with the Grand Inquisitor or the Fifth Brother is only because they were aware that not many people liked Rebels. So they were like, we shouldn't have them as the titular character, the spin-off series character. We should have another one. But this character, Riva, is also flawed. She also has
bad character.
Yeah. But I think when it comes down to it, Obi-Wan is a completely okay show if it's the first thing you're watching. Just know it gets so much better from there. There's so many other things you could watch, you know.
Watch Clone Wars instead. Play Fallen Order. That's my takeaway from Obi-Wan.
It's like, if you want something to play in the background while you're cleaning the house, Obi-Wan is the perfect show for you. You know, props to Obi-Wan. You know,
Obi-Wan, give me the perfect cleaning show. Let's go.
I would gladly ignore it in the background. You know,
gotta get homework done. Just turn on Obi-Wan.
Exactly. But I think we've gotten out everything we've wanted to get out. We've reached. I wasn't kidding when I said we've been sitting here for an hour and 40 minutes. We're like at an hour and 40 minutes right now. But is there any other last minute thoughts you want to get out?
No, I think I got out all of my disappointments, what could and should have been, and the fact that overall the root of this problem just goes back to the fact that Disney is evil and they don't know how to handle their property. It's that simple.
Yes, that the main takeaway for Obi-Wan is that Disney bad.
Yeah. The main point of all of this is to go watch better, more passionate fan Star Wars stuff. Not even like this fans, like original stuff, like the original trilogy, hell, even the prequels has a lot of passion behind it. Like, go watch the passionate stuff, like Visions. That shit's not canon. That shit's amazing. Play Fallen Order. That's a fun game. Play the original Force Unleashed. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Do stuff where people actually put in effort and it wasn't just for a paycheck. Because Star Wars is always at its best when you can feel the passion. It's not just some corporate, money cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, everyone. That's, our takes on Kenobi and I guess Disney as a whole. But thank you, Dom, for joining me in this, episode, or I don't know, just podcasting. But yeah, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. So
fun to get it off my chest and have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. But yeah, we will see you all next time.